Yeah. You see, I think that is what we are meant to be as teachers. Teja. Teja is also here.
Yes, yes. Krishna Teja has joined.
Yeah.
Hello,
Professor Sinha,
sir. Very happy
namaskar.
Teachers Day.
Krishna Teja, how are you?
I'm doing very
Professor
well, sir. Thank
Sinha,
you.
Happy Teachers Day,
Upaina
sir.
sir is here.
Sinha sir, namaskar.
Namaste. Namaste.
I am
Namaste.
B.S. Panda. When you were there, I had visited
Yeah.
2009.
Yes.
Now I'm
Great.
visiting again.
Anurag Garg. I don't bless you.
Happy Teachers Day, sir.
Thank
I
you.
was in batch Y05.
Ah,
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
good,
third
good.
batch. You were the director then, that time.
Where are you now?
I'm teaching IIT JEE aspirants in Alan Karen Institute.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Good, good, good.
So
And
working as a teacher,
what do you teach?
mathematics, sir.
Mathematics.
Actually, I was favorite one of Shukla sir, G.V. Shukla sir. I was his favorite one.
Uh-huh.
And so you are carrying the footprints of Professor Shukla.
Yes, yes. I'm trying. Not he was legend. I'm just teeny in front of him.
One has to try, keep on trying.
Yes, yes. But he was amazing.
Yeah.
But sir, the story you were discussing just now with Dr. Nyogi about being late in class.
Yes.
At school, we used to have one Catholic priest, Father Pinto. If anybody came late, he would say, "Go home. You are too late for today and too early for tomorrow."
Uh-huh.
But it's interesting to see how Divyanshu and Krishna are both uh, taking your guidance a little too far and creating solar panels of their own.
That happens with, I don't know, I think it's the academic thing. If you're in academia, eventually it catches up to you.
It's lovely catching up with both of you. One has been in touch with you now and then, but it's really nice that you've taken on the mantle of coordinating today's session.
Yeah,
Looking forward to this.
Yes. So should
definitely.
we
Yeah.
start now?
And in the interest of time and going by the philosophy that Professor Sinha just
Yes,
mentioned, that we
yes,
should
yes.
start on time, he would always make us walk out of the class, and almost all of us
Yes.
have once or the other stepped out of the class because we were late. So
Sure.
we should start.
Very good. So,
Firstly,
good evening to all of you, and a happy Teachers Day, sir, to Professor Sinha. And we are very, very fortunate that Professor Sinha agreed to come once again in between us, and he will speak to us. So we are very eager to hear from him. In fact, this year we will complete 21 years total, and this campus will complete 20 years. So I thought that let us remember our past teachers, the glorious teachers, and our pioneers, and forefathers actually. So I contacted Professor Sinha and also Professor Sharan and Professor Katyal, but Professor Katyal and Professor Sharan could not join because of age and other reasons. But we are very fortunate that Professor Sinha agreed, and so here it is. And now I request Divyanshu, who is our one of the best all-rounder actually in our student community as well as in the alumni. So to introduce and tell something more about Professor Sinha, though Professor Sinha is known to everyone, but I request Divyanshu to take over now. Please, Divyanshu.
Thank you, Nyogi sir. First, I welcome everyone here. And a very happy Teachers Day to all the teachers. I see that there are many faculty members here. Manju ma'am is here, and PS Panda sir, and several other known faces. So happy Teachers Day to everyone. You all are making an impact in all your students' life, and we all are forever thankful for that. As Dr. Niyogi mentioned, that we have the privilege of having Professor Vishwanath Sinha today with us, sharing his experience from past 50 years of academic service. I know most of us here in the group are already well acquainted with him. We all know him as our founding director. But still, since some of you might be from the recent batches who have not had the privilege to directly talk with Professor Sinha, let me give a brief introduction, a brief biographical introduction, and then some personal note to that. So Professor Sinha was born in Bhagalpur, Bihar. He did his BSc from Bihar Institute of Technology in Sindri, and MS and DSc from University of Ljubljana in Slovenia. I hope I got the pronunciation correct.
Right.
So, yeah. He joined IIT Kanpur as a faculty in 1971. So he has been in academic service for maybe longer than some of our parents were even born. And he has had an illustrious 50 years career, out of which more than 3 decades were in IIT Kanpur. He has held various administrative positions there, including professor in charge of student affairs, JE chairman, head of the department, and as deputy director for, I guess, more than 2 terms. So, and in terms of research and teaching, he held various visiting research and teaching positions across the universe. He was with Brazilian Space Research Institute. He was with Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne, Switzerland, with RWTH Aachen University in Germany, and with University of Puerto Rico in USA campus. So he has held several positions during his entire time. And as a faculty member at IITK, he was involved in several R&D projects, mostly related with communications, such as the Defense Digital Satellite Communication, which he was a coordinator. Yet another project which was nationally coordinated telematics project of MHRD. He was a coordinator of the Joint Telematics Group. He has been an active technical member of technical societies such as IET, IEEE, and now he's a life fellow of all of these. Besides all this, the one thing for which we all know him and remember him and are thankful him forever is what he did in 2003, is that he founded LNM-IIT. So he was the founding director of LNM-IIT. He continued there as a distinguished professor and advisor after his term as director was over. Subsequently, he was an emeritus professor at MNIT, Jaipur, and later became academic chair of ENICT. A few years back, IIT Kanpur honored him as an institute fellow. Aside from all these highlights of his illustrious career, which is difficult to summarize in just a few minutes, I just gave a few glimpses for it. It's simply not feasible for me to summarize everything. So what I would want to add to this biographical information is a personal connection that I and several other LNMIT students have with him. Despite being the founding director of the institute, which by the virtue of the title itself, he was supposed to be always busy. But still, he took out time not only to teach courses, not only to supervise BTP students, but actually mentor every individual student that went to him for help. He used all his personal connections and resources to help LNMIT students reach their full potential and not let their growth be impeded by the factor that back then they belonged to a rather new institute, which is unknown in the academic landscape. We all benefited from him a lot, whether it's in terms of getting internships, deciding what research projects to pursue, motivating us for higher education. So at least from the founding initial 4 or 5 batches, I can say, we all owe a great debt to Professor Sinha, because we all are what we are in our academic landscapes is because of Professor Sinha's motivation and his input. So with that said, if I keep on talking about Professor Sinha, because I'm a big fan, I can continue on for another hour. But we would like to hear more from Professor Sinha about his experience and about his teaching philosophy and about his guidance to current generation of students and teachers. So with that, I welcome Professor Sinha and I hand over the mic to Professor Sinha for his introductory remarks.
Thank you, Divyanshu, for your nice words. It was nice to hear you. Good evening to all of you in India. Good morning to everybody in USA, and good day to you if you are in Europe. I'm indeed thankful to LNM IIT to ask me to say a few words on this Teachers' Day, particularly to my ex-colleague, Dr. Amit Neogi, and the present director, Dr. Rahul Banerjee. It gives me an opportunity to reconnect myself with the Institute after almost more than a decade, during which time, under the dynamic and visionary leadership of Professor Banerjee, the seeds that we had sown have not only germinated but blossomed. It is overpowering technological fragrance, and this fragrance is not discernible from near and far. Divyansu is one such example of that fragrance. I am proud of LNM's achievements. Instead of the topic that has been there in invite, I would like to ramble on evolution of technology and your alma mater, the LNM IIT. I hope I do have your permission for this digression from the announced theme. It is in the DNA of technology that keeps technology evolving. Evolution has particularly been exponential in the areas of electronics and computers, the core area of the LNM IIT. When I was commissioned in 2003 to start the institute as the first public-private partnership entity of the country, it was conveyed to me that we must start the academic program in 2003 itself. That is in July 2003, when we were already in the month of May. We had no infrastructure, no building, no name of the program, about which I shall be talking slightly later, no recognition of any kind from any institute or university, except that some of the space was provided to us by the government of Rajasthan in Staff Training Institute in the city near MNIT, Jaipur. All bare rooms with no chairs, no tables, no furniture. We converted these in our temporary campus, to be precise, one room which we converted as a classroom. It could accommodate a maximum of 30 students, and hence our first batch was of 30 students only. One of them left in between, so 29 graduated. A hall which we used as a computer lab, office cubicles for my colleagues, and the library, as well as the computer lab. We had one more hall which we used as alternately as physics lab as well as electronics lab, because since we had only one batch, so on some days they will be doing physics, some days they will be doing electronics lab. We use these offices, we furnish them. 2000 summer was quite hectic for us. We had to design the curriculum, we had to have furniture, we have to have equipment, physics equipment, electronics equipment, so on and so forth. Fortunately for me, I had the company of 4 of my colleagues, all from IIT Kanpur, Professor P.K. Chatterjee, Professor J.B. Shukla, Professor O.P. Katyal, and Amitabh Roy. These professors were retired from IIT Kanpur, and I had to persuade them, please do come and help me setting the institute. Amitabh Roy, he was a research engineer in ACES in IIT Kanpur, and I requested him to come and set up the computer curriculum as well as lab, etc., etc. So far as the accommodation for students are concerned, we had a nearby building where we used to keep the students. The girl students, 3 of them, were fortunately accommodated in MNIT hostel, which was nearby. It was an operation which we started, and I hope that the parents of the students at that time had confidence in us, because we are starting a new institute with no recognition, nothing of any kind. When we started our academic program, we did not know anything other than what we had learned at IIT Kanpur. Because we had spent 3 decades, most of us had spent 3 decades in IIT Kanpur. Whatever we have imbibed was what IIT Kanpur stood for: open mind, equality, quest for inquiry and humanity, devoid of consideration of age, barrier, or position, and of course, the assigned rigor for fundamentals. This is what we had learned at IIT Kanpur. We had also learned the pitfalls of the system. No system has got excellence in everything. We therefore started our new career with these baggage. We endeavored to inculcate in our students a passion for lifelong learning and a skill for inquiry and analysis. Only you, our alumni, and the students can tell us how successful we were or whether we have failed the society. It is for you to tell us where we are. The evolution of engineering education for pedagogy started as offshoots from the earliest nomenclature of civil engineering and military engineering, names needing no further explanation. Waves of industrial revolution required a special emphasis for respective subdivisions like mechanical, chemical, and electrical. With passage of time, as technologies developed and as the needs of society went north, each one of these had offsprings, many offsprings. For example, like structural engineering from civil, aeronautical engineering from mechanical, electronics and communication engineering from electrical, etc. electronics by 1950. We had vacuum tubes, semiconductors, microwaves, electromagnetics, all required pedagogic attention and were suitably assimilated in electrical engineering curricula. This is what the 4 IITs did, except IIT Kharagpur. The students were offered option to exercise their preferences, machines, high voltage, control, or electronics stream. Computer engineering became the latest offspring of electrical or ECE engineering. In IIT Kanpur, its undergraduate programs were designed to incorporate science-based engineering curricula with a strong emphasis on fundamentals. IIT Kanpur was also first one in the country to bring semester system and letter-based grading system. We, as pointed out earlier at LNM IIT, inherited these concepts. While designing the curriculum at LNM IIT, we realized that engineering practice in real life requires all the relevant engineering disciplines. For example, an engineer with computer science and engineering background finds himself or herself at a loss when asked to design an amplifier. Similarly, an electronics engineer finds difficulty in understanding data structures. We wanted our students to be conversant with both these disciplines, and hence our program, the initial program of computer communication and computer engineering. Of course, it was tough for the students because they have to learn the basics of both the disciplines. If a program is to survive and attract competent faculty for implementation, research and development opportunities must be created. Realizing this, we had started postgraduate program in key areas right from the inception of the institute. Rich dividends are now accruing to the institute. With passage of time, it is gratifying to note that the institute, as a natural academic evolution process, offers several other disciplines as options to entering undergraduates. Corollary of this assertion is an obligatory prerequisite that the curriculum must be updated at frequent intervals. That in turn requires the onus on the faculty to keep learning, and AI will, whether you like it or not, be part of any curriculum that you have. Like any technology, its use benefits the society, good or bad. Good, otherwise catastrophic. May I suggest to the institute and to Professor Banerjee that we should have a front runner in development of curriculum in ethics in AI. Lastly, to the alumni, the world is great. You must go out to see where you fit in. We are confident that your hard work will bring a rewards to you wherever you are. And to the students, don't be Kup Manduk in Rupaki Nangal. Go outside and see, treat your LNM IIT as your mother and give back to the society which had produced you. Faith in you, faith in yourself is the biggest asset that you have. So work hard and God bless you. Above all, be a good human being. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a wonderful experience sharing, Professor Sinha, and I learned quite a few things from you. It was beautiful storytelling. That was a lesson to me also. And you will be happy to know one of the things that you just mentioned is a part of our curriculum, ethics and AI, in both the minor that we offer for AI and also in the honors program with a specialization in AI and data science. Ethics and AI is a course.
Thank you very much. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Professor Sinha, for that remark and for sharing that story. I do have a few things which I want to ask Professor Sinha myself, which I'll take the opportunity definitely. But among the audience, because I do see that we have very good audience here. If you have any questions and you want to talk to Professor Sinha directly, please raise your hand. And if I call your name, you can say your question yourself. In case you are in an environment where you cannot unmute yourself, feel free to type your question in the chat and I'll relay the question to Professor Sinha. Okay, and we can proceed that way. So now if you raise hand, I'll call your name for asking Professor Sinha whatever you want to ask. But being the moderator, I'll take the privilege to start. Professor Sinha, one thing that I want to understand, somebody who wants to aspire to be a teacher, aspire to be like you in almost every way. If you go to the very beginning of your career, 50 years ago, like before 1971, what was your driving force or motivation for choosing this particular path of career? And more importantly, how has that particular motivation stayed consistent for so long that even at the age when most people would envision retirement and relaxation, you took up the mantle of building up a whole institute from scratch and did it in a very meaningful way? So what is that force that has been keeping you motivated throughout? Because most people will end up getting bored of their jobs in 2 to 3 years. So what's your force?
Well, now I have to tell stories.
Sure.
About myself. I wanted to join army. Went to the selection board and somehow they did not select me. The second was that I had a job from, at that time, student Hindustan Steel Limited. And they kept me pressing that I should be joining them. The year was 1963. I come from a small college, a small township called Bhagalpur, and there was an engineering college. Our results were yet not announced. So for curiosity, what is this college about? I went to see the college, Bhagalpur College of Engineering. There, I met Professor R.K. Garg. He was the head of Department of Electrical Engineering. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Sir, अभी तो रिजल्ट निकला नहीं है, अभी मस्ती कर रहे हैं. So why don't you join us?" I said, "हमारा तो रिजल्ट ही नहीं निकला है." "Don't worry." So he goes to the principal and instantaneously they formulated a selection committee consisting of the principal Chaudhary and head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering and head of the Department of Electrical Engineering. And I was appointed a lecturer and my appointment letter says, provided he passes the examination. So I became a teacher. And I liked it. So that when I started liking it, I said, okay, I should be, am I equipped for the career? No. Then we started looking into various options available. I applied to various places and got selected in Brooklyn Polytech in USA. Went to take the visa in Calcutta, the nearest place from Bhagalpur. That day, the war started between Pakistan and India, and all our flights were cancelled. So when I wrote to the professor in Brooklyn Polytech, he said, your scholarship is gone. Next year you have to try. In the college, I already had the farewell party from all my colleagues. So I had the next opportunity of going to Slovenia, where I did my master's and DSc. And there I learned the merit of treating human being as human being. I will never forget the experience because the janitor in that institute was same as the professor other than the classroom or other their work. And that is how I started my career. Of course, I came back to IIT Kanpur as a faculty member and continued with that. You see, you develop a passion for whatever you are doing. For me, it was teaching. I continued into that. When you start with that, you have to worry about what will be your next course of action in your life. And that is how many things happen in IIT Kanpur. It is difficult to enumerate them in such a short time. But I must say that it was a good inning in IIT Kanpur for me, for my family, because my son was born there, right in the campus. So to say that how do you continue with the passion has got to come from within. If it is inside you, you will never forget your passion. Thank you. I hope that I have answered your question.
Yes, thank you. That does answer. So I am getting questions on the chat. So I'll put my questions on hold and go over to the chat questions and people who have raised their hands. So Pariti Jain has asked the question that I'm curious, and I'm quoting her verbatim. I'm curious on Professor Sinha's thoughts on tremendous change in the learning paradigm from college learning to online courses and certification, how the next generation students should strike a balance out between the two. And if I may add to this question, how the next generation teachers should adapt and evolve in this particular situation, because is the role of teachers going to be obsolete given all the online tools and AI tools that we have? So that's the question.
It's difficult to answer that. I believe we have moved away from learning the fundamentals, because today you have everything available to you. So you have to compartmentalize your life. Are you going to be in research? Then you must understand the fundamentals. Are you going to be in application? Then you have all the products available to you. As a matter of fact, today, I believe you don't concentrate more on how to integrate some equations and so on and so forth, because the solutions are available to you. But when you want to do research, you must go into the deep of it. You must understand the fundamentals. And research takes you, has got its own charm, its own aura of success, its own reward for achievement. You are happy because of the result that you obtain. In practice, I believe today's application-oriented software are everywhere in everything. You don't have to understand Bezos functions today. You get the knowledge without that. So you have to concentrate on what you want to become, whether you are a practicing engineer, whether you want to become a researcher, you want to become a philosopher. Philosophy in the technological sense. So you have to first compartmentalize your future in these and work accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sinha. I have few other comments, but first I would like to go to people who have raised their hands. So Abhi Raj Purohit, if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question. Yeah.
Sure. First of all, thanks Divyanshu, Niyogi sir, and others who were involved in the creation of this event. It's amazing. So thank you. It's for me, it's a trip down memory lane to see Professor Sinha, some of my faculty members, and also see some of my folks who were in the earlier batches, and I had a chance to interact with them, and first time seeing some other outstanding alumni. So what I want to quickly share is two anecdotes which will, which have made a lasting imprint on me from Professor Sinha. First one was that back in July 2023, when the instance Dr. Sinha talked about, I was an average student, like most of you. So when I was going through counseling, I heard of this institute, LNMIT, brand new at that time, no publicity, no information. I can't ask questions to anybody. But somebody told me we were consulting at MNIT Jaipur, and just across the block was the campus where LNMIT was starting. And somebody told me it's just across the street, if you want to go, but I don't know more about it. So I somehow went there because, they were offering computer and communication, and I was very interested in computer science, and I was not getting that as an option with my rank in most of other institutes. So I sat there and said, hey, is there any staff? Is there any counseling department? Who can I talk to? So the person at the reception who was a security guard, he said, there is no staff. There is nobody here. I mean, apart from the director. Do you want to talk to director? And I said, hey, directly to the director would be too much, but I might as well try because I'm here. So I asked, and immediately Professor Sinha called me in, and I was surprised that a director is willing to talk to a prospective student. How can that be possible? I went in and I asked him the most, frankly speaking, obvious question that comes to our mind at counseling is like, I jumped on and I asked, sir, if I join this program, what would be the job I can expect? What would be the package I can expect? Right? So silly of me, but those were the true words that I asked. And Dr. Sinha kindly took the time to, help me understand that he said, we cannot promise you what job you'll get, what package you can get. I don't have any insight into that. But what I can tell you is that the quality of education you will achieve here will be far different than the other options available to you in other places. And that's simply because the teachers who are teaching you here, they not everyone at IIT also has the opportunity to get taught from them. Only very few, particularly at bachelor level, very few get to do any project or research with them. Here you will get to have a lot more quality time with them. And that made an impact on me. And he said that, if you believe in the quality of education, quality of research, then yes, a good job is waiting for you somewhere, someplace, but that should not be your starting point. Your starting point should be to invest into education and research and to really get a very strong grasp of foundations. So that was, and I believed in it, and I think that has helped me in education as well as throughout my career so far. So that was one remark from him that made a lasting impact, that, focus more on the quality of education. Don't jump directly to the end result. That might not set you well for the career. And that has been indeed true for my case. The second anecdote I would like to share is that often, because we were our actual building at Rupaki Nangal was not ready. So in the first year, often Dr. Sinha would ask us that, whoever wants to come, they can come along with me. I'm going to the new campus being built, and I'm going to look at the progress and everything. So some of us volunteered and we joined him. So it was like any other construction site, right? Ground zero, there are some, construction material over there, nothing more. And we are not so passionate about it. Another one very important thing. Whenever we visited that place, it rained. And Professor Sinha was told by the local folks that rain is considered a very, very good omen. And he was happy about it. Whereas we students would crib about it, that, it's raining, let's go back. What's the fun in being outside if it's raining? But Professor Sinha was rather happy about it because he told that, locals informed him that rain is a good omen and he believes in it. So that was the case. And as we went through the construction site, we figured out that, it was just land and some bricks and stones over there. But Professor Sinha would say, this is where the boys' hostel would be. So Abhishek, would you like to pick your room? And we would just joke around it. But the curiosity and the imagination he displayed at that time, that, okay, he would ask questions to the architects. Okay, where will the office be? How far will it be from the mess, right? He was so involved and so curious about it, a lot more than us students. And that was very inspiring, that when nothing was present, he had that vision and the curiosity to participate in it, which we didn't have at that time. And then we learned it later that now, of course, it might be an 8-story building, a 10-story building, but it started from ground zero and somebody had the vision that it will eventually reach there and participated in the very crucial early stages. So those are two anecdotes I would like to share with everybody. Hope it tells you a bit more about Professor Sinha and his personality. He has made a lasting impact on me, as some of other teachers that I'm seeing. And I am so happy and grateful to be one of his students. Thank you.
Abhishek, good to see you. You've thinned down quite a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Where are you now?
I am in San Francisco. I was working for PayPal for quite a bit of time, and I've recently moved to a cybersecurity firm, Palo Alto Networks.
I am in Los Altos, not very far from San Francisco.
Yes, would love to meet you. I would like to get your number so I can coordinate, and would love to come over to meet you.
Okay.
Thank you, Abhishek sir, for that anecdote. And I, as juniors, and some of your colleagues in the chat, like Rachita and Gaurav, they all can testify that you were never an average student, so don't be so humble. But thank you for the anecdote anyways. Next, I have Utkarsh Jain. Utkarsh, do you want to unmute yourself and share your question or thoughts? I think, Utkarsh, you are mute. Can you unmute yourself? You are not audible. We can't hear you. Maybe your microphone or your mic is not working. Yeah, now we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, hi. Very good evening, sir. First of all, an amazing opportunity to see you after so long. It has been like now probably 19 years when we first met you. And I also wanted to kind of put a submission, my experiences with you more than a question. So first I want to build onto what Abhiraj Purohit said, that, the thing that you built out and the way you built it, when we were very young, it was hard to understand when you used to say that our job is not to get you jobs, but our job is to teach you the right things and then everything else will fall in place. It was hard as a student to understand, but the more we growing in life, we can realize that what a good foundation we got, what an amazing institute and amazing culture you built out there. and it has kind of shaped up our personalities in ways that I mean we could reflect all over the world. So thank you for that. It was an amazing culture that you built. And second is an anecdote, a small one. So after finishing college, I got an opportunity to come to your home and meet you. So I was starting my first company, and I came and said that, "Oh, sir, I'm very happy I have started a company." And I thought that you would be very happy about it. But you just said that, "Oh, that's it. You're just starting company. You don't want to study further. You don't want to research further." And again, I was like, "Oh," and you said, "Don't you want to find something new, something of, cutting edge frontier in this life, and just want to go on the treaded path?" So that thing stuck with me. At that time, again, I couldn't appreciate it. But now, after like 3 startups and probably 14 years of college, I can tell you that how much we appreciate that thing. And I'm still looking that if I can find an opportunity where we can chase the new frontiers like you did. So, sir, really thank you for that. I mean, we can't thank you enough for what we have gotten from you on this day of Teachers' Day. Kudos to you, sir. Our respect for that. Thank you.
Very nice.
Where are you now, Utkarsh? In Jaipur?
No, sir, I'm in Gurgaon, but I keep traveling to San Francisco, sir. So next time I'm there, I'll be there in Los Altos, sir. I'd be more than happy to meet you, sir, in person.
Please do.
Sure, sir. I will. Thank you, sir.
I see. APS, sir, you have unmuted yourself. Do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, it's just that, some of us know that Abhishek is YO3 and Utkarsh is YO6. But whoever speaks, if you could first mention your batch, because there are a lot of others might not know your vintage.
Yeah. So for others who don't know, as APS sir mentioned, Rajpurohit sir is from the very first batch, Y03. We all heard about him a lot, the first achiever of the batch. And Utkarsh sir, he was from Y05. So we met him when we were in college, definitely.
Yeah.
He was one of the popular students, actually. So
And
as a continuation to what Rajpurohit sir mentioned, Professor Sinha, I would like to ask, in the very initial days, how easy was it for you to get these stalwarts that you mentioned, Professor Sharan, Professor Chatterjee, Professor Shukla, bringing all of them together? Was it easy convincing them, hey, let's go to this barren land in Jaipur out there and settle there for next decade or so? Or do you all share some common philosophy towards the conception of the institute?
You see, Jaipur was a foreign entity in Kanpur. We did not know much about Jaipur. And therefore, that topic did not come in our discussion. But I had to persuade each one of them, भाई आकर के हमारी मदद करो, आकर के हमारी मदद करो. This was the thing that brought all of them in Jaipur with me. Chatterjee, he was in my department, so I knew him much better. But Shukla and Katiyar were tough people to be persuaded to lose their sleep in Kanpur and come to Jaipur. But the charm was that we have to create a new institute. We have to create something which was unknown to them, to me, to everybody. It was that thing which propelled them to come to Kanpur with me.
Okay. So we are glad that they all at least came together and we had this amazing institute founded. So, and as a continuation to one of your previous comments regarding compartmentalizing your thoughts, where we want to do in research and this way, I have a question about all the aspiring teachers, particularly that there are 3 distinct avenues in which an academic career can go into: a teaching career, a research career, and an administrative and leadership role. Now, somehow these are interlinked also, but at the same time, at certain phases, they can be mutually exclusive. So for a successful academic career, does one necessarily have to have an interconnection of these three seemingly distinct entities, or is it okay if I just want to teach or just want to research or just want to transform engineering education through some leadership roles, or do they have to be connected?
You see, they are not interconnected if you do not have the DNA for administration. You can be a very good researcher, but not a good administrator. It has got to be in your blood if you want to do academic administration. There are situations in the country when you find that the professor of this institute was appointed as some administrative position, and they were failures. Because administration is something much different than the research. So if you want to be in research, and if you have a passion for research, try to be in that only. That is my feeling. Some of us have got a dual feeling, dual gene, that okay, I can do a little bit of research, I can do a little bit of administration, it is okay. Today, publication is a major issue in academia. A good publication, but should publication be the goal in life? If it is research, it has got to be something which will bring some benefit to the society. So, if you are doing research, try to see, will it have any product coming out of it? If at all, maybe after 5 years, maybe after 10 years, and so on. Then it is okay. But only for research, only for writing a paper, getting it accepted in a conference is not what one should do. This is what I would like to say.
Thank you for that clarity of thought, sir. I have many people raising their hands. Dr. Neogi, I'm not sure, what is the time limit? Should we wrap up in an hour or 1.5 hours? So I think it's on Professor Sinha's availability. Professor Sinha, are you available for how long? Because
I am available.
Okay. So I think we can go for another few, at least for 1.5 hour session we can go, because I see many raised hands.
Yes,
okay?
yes, sure.
Yeah, Krishna Teja.
It will depend on Amit Neogi.
No, it's okay. Perfectly fine, sir, with me.
Yeah.
It's a grace that you are here and you are talking to us.
Yeah. So Krishna Teja, I see you are in a car, but if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question.
I did. I just dropped my daughter off at the daycare, so I have some time. I can unmute myself and talk now. Very nice to see you, Sinha sir. Thank you very much for this talk. So my question is kind of a continuation to your previous comment on administration being an academic. You explained about how you convinced your colleagues from IIT Kanpur to join you from an academic front, setting up the research ground, setting up the curriculum at LMIT. I'm curious to learn more about your journey with the other aspects of the administration, that is, speaking with the government of Rajasthan and the Ellen Mittal Foundation, having a public-private partnership. How did that all come together? And I'm sure it's not an easy thing. I would love to learn more about that experience from you, sir.
Oh, well, you see, when I was contacted by Professor Jhunjhunwala, you might be knowing him, he said, sir, क्या करते हैं आजकल? कुछ नहीं, पढ़ते हैं, पढ़ाते हैं, रिसर्च करते हैं। कुछ चैलेंजिंग जॉब करेंगे। मैंने कहा ओके, तो इसके लिए आपको बम्बई आना पड़ेगा। तो आई रीच बॉम्बे. There was a meeting arranged in ICICI headquarters, in which Professor Mittal, Mr. Mittal was there, and the Chief Secretary of Government of Rajasthan was there. And I frankly spoke myself that I don't want to do anything with government because I have got very bad experience in Kanpur dealing with government. The meeting continued. At the lunch time, the Chief Secretary says, Professor Saab, आप आ तो जाओ. The way he mentioned that still remember, it still resonates me in my mind. Was Nair, the Chief Secretary at that time of Government of Rajasthan, who gave all the support in building the institute. There was not a single time when I wanted to meet him or something, and he will say, I'm busy, I cannot come. Or I please see later on. So whenever the Chief Secretary listens to you, or you are in that good book, everybody else wants to join you. There were times, as Divyanshi mentioned once, Mr. Nair and myself will go and sit under the tree at the time of construction of LNMIT and exchange our words or pour over the drawing. It was that thing which made LNMIT a success, because in the bureaucracy, higher you are, more you are respected everywhere. And when the junior officers, junior IS officers see that the Chief Secretary is so close to you, they listen to you. I think that made our life easy. I think that made LNF life easy. It is very difficult in bureaucracy because bureaucracy means hierarchy. And how do you break the notion of hierarchy is very difficult to understand. I was fortunate. I was fortunate because I could see that in Mr. Nair, there was a trait of academia in his blood. And that created, he was the person with whom there was a Bhumi Pujan, and both Government of Rajasthan and me were the instrument in that. There was in lecture hall, he was the person who sat with me for the Bhumi Pujan, for the class of inauguration. That thing doesn't happen usually anywhere. So, you see, typically, it's not that Mr. Nair is alone. There are very few bureaucrats who understand or who visualize the impact that education has in their lives. It's very difficult for them. They feel, the bureaucrats feel that I have done it, I have achieved this thing, I'm here, I'm the boss, and that's it. Unfortunately, life is not like that. There are good people in bureaucracy, but very few. And it was my fortune that I came across such good people. Krishna, I don't know whether I answered you or not.
Sir, thank you very much for your answer. And what I actually learned from you is great institutes are born from great ideas, of course, but they are materialized from great people coming together. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Krishna, for the question. Manu Yadav, do you want to unmute yourself? Yeah.
Manu.
Hello, sir. Such a nostalgic feeling to see you and like hear from you after such a long time.
Yeah, me too.
It's just so amazing to like see you. Actually, I have not been able to think much, so I couldn't think like what can I ask or something. But like since like Abhishek and Utkarsh when they spoke, so I also got reminded of like two of the things. So one is like, sir, the way you guys like programmed the this structure of this courses. So that is like so amazing. I am still like so impressed by it, like because see, communication and computers. So these are base like backbone of like future like world. And now also like these are the most relevant technology. So we were so fortunate that at that time when nobody was thinking on those lines, so you did it, and we were fortunate to be with you and like under you. So that is so amazing, sir. And like another thing which I learned from you is like approach towards like importance of learning as compared to like say maybe degree or job. So as like Utkarsh was also mentioning, so at that time like when I came, so my first question was like with Chatterjee sir, that sir like forget about anything. Will I get a job if I like join this institute? He told me like don't worry about those job right now. You should be like focused on learning and those things. But as Abhishek told me, like at that time, like we were not able to understand the importance of those things. So eventually now, like when I have been in industry and like build my own companies, then I know like how important is that learning and how actually it has helped us this whole way and like how it changed our personality and everything. So thanks a lot for that, sir. So one more thing like which I wanted to like maybe ask or like just something like discuss. So one thing is in India, should there be like say more effort towards as you also mentioned? So I am just adding upon that. So that like when we are doing some research or something, so it should be actually turning into product like maybe not right away, but in future. So should there be some mechanism in which like people who are in the industry and who are like day to day facing challenges because of like some of the technologies not existing, so they can actually connect with the professors who are actually basically having students, PhD students under them, or like maybe students. So maybe that will help. Just a, like random thought. I think like you can definitely like suggest a lot more and know much more like about this.
See, first of all, you must have faith in yourself when you try to launch an idea. ये काम करेगा, उसके पीछे लगे रहो. हो सकता है थोड़ा फेलियर होगा.
जी जी.
But failure should not be construed as something bad. You learn from there. The other is yes, I agree that one must have some uh, some relationship, some contact, some guidance from a faculty member. But you see, there are different kinds of faculty members. One who are uh, theoretical oriented, one who are practical oriented. Catch hold of them, and hopefully your problem will be solved.
Right, sir. So, and like this was suggestion for, I think, sorry, I just keeping the name. So, like basically for upcoming teachers and others as well. So our
Yeah.
model, because he was also asking like that, how can we be better at like the education and other things. So if you communicate more with the industry, it will surely help you guys as well.
Yeah, health. See, one thing good about this universe is people are helpful anywhere.
Right.
There will be occasions where people will try to exploit you, and that is your failure. But you'll ultimately latch on to some people who are really interested in helping you. It's a human nature.
Right, sir. Right. Very true. Thanks a lot, sir. So good. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Manu. And sir, as you can see, most of the initial founding batch students are actually getting emotional while asking questions to you and while seeing you. So it's really a good moment. And I have several of the students raising hands. In the interest of time, I'll go fast in the sequence in which people have raised hands. Ashutosh Baheti, do you want to unmute yourself?
So, hi everyone. Sorry not to confuse you, but thanks Ashutosh for pushing me. I was a bit shy to speak up, but I would have regretted it more if I wouldn't have. So, thank you, Sinha sir, for such a great talk here. And you have been really a great spearhead in my life for making my career. It all started off from the internship you had offered me to go to NY at CAT under Shivendra Pandwa. And the entire journey, not the internship, but the entire journey has really taught me very important life skills. I come from a middle class family, and I was the first one to kind of step into abroad. That was my first flight, not even domestic flight I had taken before. So I was sitting first time in an international flight, got lost at Charles de Gaulle Airport at Paris, somehow found my way to New York, was completely in a cultural shock when I reached to US. And started off my day amongst a very interesting, very hardworking people at the lab. Also met Sanjay Goyal sir, who was doing his PhD there. And eventually in 3 months time frame, really started to feel like home there. But it really taught me a lot of very important life skills of survival and acceptance, and like how to kind of cope up with cultural shock at a young age. That was fundamental to carry forward and building up my career bottom up. After the work that I had done on cooperative communications there, I returned back and decided to do thesis with you. And I remember I was always having butterflies in my stomach before entering into your cabinet, because you used to make me write equations on the whiteboard, so that I'm very streamlined and I'm very to the point in terms of research I have done over the past weeks. And that also kind of really helped me over the 6 months, to communicate in very less words what I wanted to, because you were always, of course, you were super busy, and you wanted me to be on spot. I also remember towards the end of university, I came to your door again and told that, Sinha sir, I want to do an MS, and what would you recommend? My father had limited budget for me in terms of applications for for MS, and I had exhausted the money. So you suggested me, Neha, why don't you look at Technical University of Munich? And they also have great work done in the direction of communications, and I did that. I got selected, and here am I, living since last 12 years in Munich since then. So you have been really fundamental element in building up my career here, and I would always owe this up to you. And I remember that there has been not a single year where I have not emailed you on this day happy Teachers Day, because I really mean it. And today I didn't write you that email because I had an opportunity to talk to you face to face. So thank you for everything, sir.
Thank you. Your father must be cursing me because I asked you something and your father wanted you to take over his enterprise, right?
Yes, he was on a business side, and he wanted me to run his the family business, but I wanted to have my own identity, so I went the other path.
So he must be cursing me.
Well, he's happy now.
Good to see you and good to hear you.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you, Neha, and good to see you, Ashutosh, even though we saw you just for a split second.
Likewise, he's doing the dad job right now.
Vartika, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hey, hi. Hi. I'm Vartika from Y07 batch. I am currently in San Jose, and I'm juggling with feeding breakfast to my son and trying to ask questions. So pardon me on my if my voice breaks or anything. But yeah, so nice to see everyone. I was really happy to connect with everyone today morning and see everyone, especially Sina sir on Teachers Day. So happy Teachers Day, sir. I really thankful for all the things you have done for LNMIT and for us. Like Y07 LNMIT years have been the founding year of my life, and life skills learned have really been helpful throughout the career, throughout life. So thanks for that. I have slightly different question from what people have asked. I wanted to know, I'm a young parent. I have a 2.5 year old. I wanted to understand, we being parents as first teachers for our kids, what first principles should we try to approach things to make them curious and successful, and things that you have taught us. We might nobody. I hope everybody is fortunate to get a teacher like you. But if not, then we being the first teachers, what few things, one or two things we should focus on to teach them, or yeah.
If I may, that's a very relevant question to many of us right now. So many of us are new parents, and we all want to know the answer for that.
I'm coming from, because the education here in the US is pretty different from what we experienced in India. I'm really confused whether we should put him in primary, in public, private, all those things. I want to set right the first principles, and then whatever follows. But want to understand from your point of view.
Vartika, good to see you after such a long time. You see, each bad things also have got some good things in them. We had this pandemic. All of our lives were kind of settled, but it also brought some good things. The good thing is offline communication, offline education, offline processing. And it is there that you could use as a mother having some free time and develop products for which you don't have to go outside your flat or your room. Use this opportunity of online communication for your development of whatever idea that you might have. Use that opportunity. It is not necessary to go to a workshop to do the things. it is possible to do things online. That is what the pandemic has taught us. Exploit it.
Thank you, sir. Jatin, do you want to unmute yourself now?
Sure. Hi, Sinha sir. For everybody else, I'm Jatin from Y07 batch. I'm currently in Seattle, but I travel a lot to San Francisco area, and I plan to, eventually in a few months, finally settle there as well. I'm planning that. So, Sinha sir, I will come and meet you. I wanted to share an anecdote. The first time, I went to Sinha sir's chamber, it was for basically some tuition assistance. At that time, I did not have money even to complete my education. I had like 1 semester worth of money. And then I went to his chamber. Sinha sir, in his style, said yes. And then I was scared. And then I forgot whatever, I crammed an entire sentence in English to basically talk to him. And I forgot everything. And then I was like, for 5 seconds staring at him. And then he was like, yes. And then I, told him that, sir, I'm facing some financial issues. This is the problem. And then let me see what I can do. And eventually, there was no tuition assistance or scholarship at that time. But he made my case and I got some assistance. That's how I completed my 4 years at LMIT because of that. Otherwise, I wasn't even getting a loan. So thank you. I owe you my internship as well with Sansaran Pathak and my other internship with IIT Bombay with Professor Kandikar along with Divyanshu and Neha. I have 2 questions for you. So first one is I would like you to elaborate on the AI and ethics comment that you made. What do you mean by it? What scares you about AI? And second, which is more personal to me,
Can you please repeat that? AI and
AI and ethics and AI.
Yeah.
What worries you most about AI and why you care so much about ethics in AI? So that's question number 1. And question number 2 is in Indian universities we don't have RA-ship, TA-ship where students can basically earn while they are learning and basically offset some of their expenses in education. What are your thoughts about it? Is Indian education system ready for it so that even if somebody comes for a bachelor's program, they do some TA and RA for first and second semester and then get some money or credits which offset their education?
Yeah, I would like to try to respond. You see, as I see, the corporate world will try to exploit the possibilities that AI provides in all areas of human endeavor. All areas. And that is bad. Should there not be some kind of regulation which will say you cannot use AI for these purposes? For example, I could use your face and put somebody else's face, your voice, and somebody else's voice, and swindle all your bank account. AI can do that. Should there be checks and balances? It is something which, when I was thinking about it, it is something like nuclear energy. Nuclear energy gives us power, very cheap power. But look at what happened in Second World War. So should there not be enough of similar checks and balances? I do not know in what form, what body, what organizations, maybe something called ITU for AI. Maybe, I do not know. The second question is about the students getting paid for their internship. You see, your US model is because they get project grants from which they pay to their students, which are difficult to have in the Indian context. But one thing is, almost in all the IITs, if you are a graduate student, you do get money. You do get a scholarship. It's a kind of a different way of financing you. But I agree with you that that kind of assistantship scheme, which is true both in US and in Germany, the two countries, and to some part in Switzerland, the three countries about which I have my personal knowledge. Those parallel things do not exist in the country, in India. Maybe one should think about it. Maybe. Because each such proposition will have negative aspects as well. So one has to really look into it and then decide. I don't think I can answer any positive that. Okay.
Thank you so much. Your thoughts are wonderful. Thank you.
We have two more students raising their hands, but before that, Jatin, in response to your question, Vikas Vajpayee sir has posted that, just adding one info, we offer similar kind of TA-ship and RA-ship at LNMIT. So he clarifies that. And before I go to Paridhi Jain, director has raised his hand, so maybe he wants to add something to this question itself.
Well, luckily Vikas anyway added that. You will be glad to know, Jatin and Professor Sinha, we have both UG TA-ship as well as TA-ship and RA-ship at masters. All masters students and doctoral students get fellowships and assistantships. About 100 PhD students we have right now. All of those who don't bring external fellowships, say from research institutions outside or any other fellowship from another body, and if they are working full time, they do get institute fellowship, and that has been increased very recently to 50,000 rupees per month, kind of thing. And apart from that, in total, we spend about TA-ship, fellowships put together and RA-ship about 3 crore per year to support and encourage our students and ecosystem. And over and above that, if any student publishes a quality paper in, say, Q1 journal or A-star conference, they do get their subsequent academic years tuition fee fully waived if they're in master's or PhD program.
Thank you very much, Banajit Saab. It's a good thing. Keep it up.
By the way, before I ask next person to ask their question, I'm getting a lot of good messages and well wishes in the chat, and I might not be able to relay everything to Professor Sinha right now. So if you have something to convey to Professor Sinha, put it on the chat towards the end of the chat before the call ends. I'll compile them all in a separate document and send it to Professor Sinha separately so that your wishes reaches him in case he's not able to read it right now. Okay, so feel free to write your messages in the chat box. Now, Paridhi Jain, over to you.
Divyanshu, great moderation, by the way. And namaste, Professor Sinha. Happy Teachers Day to you. I'm also currently in Phoenix, US. and raising two beautiful kids. And I was smiling the entire time Neha and Vartika were talking about the parental responsibilities and what else you can do while building your career and everything. I really want to appreciate and thank you for again, as everybody is saying, you are the foundation stone for many of the achievements that we could do in our lives. And in a very recent conversation, I would not hesitate to share that I was interviewing for a role which is in quantum computing, which is a mix of computing algorithms, data structures, and the semiconductors knowledge, and how the electrons and the protons move in the space, right? And he was asking me, Paridhi, you have a background and you have a PhD in computer science. How do you know all about semiconductors and everything? And I was telling them that I had a course in my undergraduation wherein I could study both computer science as well as electronics. So I really want to give that thought a kudos that you had an opportunity to mix both disciplines together, because it is going to be the future. It is going to be a future wherein you have the computing very much relying on how these basic atomic structures work. Like I was reading Heisenberg principles, and I was relaying all information I had gathered in my Bio 6 years. So I really want to appreciate and thank you. And if there is anything that I can contribute in my limited time as well, again, too many things on my plate, as well as Neha, Vartika, and everybody was saying, I think I can contribute if there is any scholarship, or if there is anything that I can create for, as Jatin was mentioning, not just for the TA ships and for the RA ships, but for the students as well who may not have that sort of a financial background. And if they are really good at what they do, I would be very, 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 very happy to support them. So that's all I think from me. Thank you again, and happy Teachers' Day to everybody in the group, in the chat as well.
You see, taking the clue from Paridhi, I would like to say the alumni of LNM IIT have met their dent in most of the companies, most of the corporate world. My observation is directed to the director that he should exploit these contacts for providing them opportunities for research, for their assistantship, for their summer jobs, or whatever. I believe one could do that, which will actually expand the tree of LNM IIT.
Very true, Professor Sinha, and I will keep your advice in mind. We have almost started reaching out to many alumni around the world in different places, and I'm sure you would probably be happy to know one more of the alumni have created an endowment for a scholarship for over here, and I'm happy to see Paridhi suggesting that she would also like to kind of contribute over there. We will probably reach out to you, and Professor Amit Neogi is the Dean of Alumni Affairs. I will probably rope in him to reach out to you, to contact you, and maybe anyone who is like-minded and would like to add in any sphere, fellowship, assistantship, internship support, or any other thing, sometimes brain share, whichever way. So wonderful. Thank you so much, Professor Sinha and Paridhi both.
And
I think it is time that we, the alumni, become the service providers rather than service seekers. We should be able to do that to our own students. I say student because they are just coming out of their institute and they need hand-holding for some time. Okay. Thank you, Paridhi, for your offer.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Paridhi.
Thank you.
And in the interest of time, I'll take the last question from the students and then go to maybe concluding remarks. So Ravi Teja. Ravi sir, you are muted. Please
Hey,
unmute yourself.
hi Divyanshu. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. And thanks to Sinha sir, Amit sir, Banerjee sir, and Ambika Pratap sir. So for giving their time, I'm really happy today seeing so many faces, and I'm also happy seeing I could recognize so many names still from this group that is joining us. And that means we, from our batches, we are very active and we're coming back, and it fills me with a lot of joy and hope. So yeah, some 2 cents from my side. When I joined the college with my rank, I at the time the first meeting that I came to when Sinha sir addressed us, and he spoke about the college and its future and all. At that time, I was a little doubtful. Okay, could I have chosen a different college, or why how I did end up here? But the reason I came to this college was the course. I couldn't choose between communication and computers, and I'm glad I took that decision and read that. I studied both in the college, and that helped me later on to connect things, to get a deeper understanding of how even the computers works on the, like we do computations. So how does the hardware support it? So like we are going into AI, what kind of hardware would support it? With some electronics knowledge, that helps me. Then also one thing that I saw differently from my colleagues was how our course was structured, how our college was structured, that it emphasized on individuality and our own leadership towards the course. That we are not given a set curriculum, we are able to choose what we want. That also helped me transition well to my master's, because some of the friends that I talked to who come from local colleges from Hyderabad, they had a more difficult transition coming to US and masters. So yeah, I'm glad to have, I can say it 100 times that I joined that college, LNM IIT. Second thing, apart from all these main things that we are talking about, that education and where we went in, one of the main concepts I believe in my life which helped me is develop my personality in the university. So basically, me coming from a different, like South Indian state from Hyderabad, we couldn't go often and reach our families from Jaipur. So we missed some kind of connection. But Amit Niyogi sir, he used to call us to his house, organize that, and we were alone in the campus, 4 or 5 people. He used to call us, like, have a meeting, and that gave us that feel that we have a home here too in the initial days. And I'm eternally thankful to Amit sir for that. Also, the business knowledge, the business acumen that Ambika Pratap sir gave us, and some of the habits that he inculcated in us. That he used to tell us, read Economist. At that time, I didn't have the money to do the subscription. But now when I have it, I subscribe to Economist, I read it, and I realize how those small habits add up in us having a bigger perspective in the life and understanding many other things. So, after that, one final question to you, Vishwanath sir, Sinha sir. You have talked a lot about today about this AI ethics and all the things that are going to come in the industry, and going with the theme of today's meeting of continued learning. That's a lifelong process. So if we still have to learn a lot, I believe, at least in my life. So if you are learning, may not be in research, but even in working with here in the industry, what are the frontiers that you think will the world be going to next? I mean, I could name some from my angle, but you are at a very bigger picture stage, so I think you will be able to answer that better.
It's a multi-million-dollar question. But I believe what we should do and I request the director to do that, is to bring deep philosophy as part of our curriculum. Philosophy about life, philosophy about our heritage. If we could do that, hopefully the ill points that you intending to do will be mitigated to some extent. You see, typically you have corporate world which is interested only in profit, in their profit. How do you control that? Unless you have a society where you have enlightened people to take care of that control, you will have problems. So it is for all of us to be vociferous. It is for all of us intellectuals, engineers, scientists, that we must speak whenever such issues come up. Typically, we feel, अरे मेरा क्या है, मुझको इससे क्या लेना देना है. This attitude has got to change. We have to be vociferous. And that will bring in, or actually, Amit will be very good in that, to bring in the philosophy of Vivekananda and our Upanishad, which will say what we are. Ultimately, it has got to be for our happiness. How do we define that happiness is up to us. How do we develop expertise for salvation for our soul is up to us. How do we do that? It's a $1 billion question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Sinha, for that very insightful answer. Figuring out who we are based on our own roots. I'm sure we'll take some steps in that direction in future. So I would like to conclude the talk with one final question from my side, and then we'll have closing remarks from Director and Niyogi sir. Professor Sinha, you started LNMIT with certain vision. It's been, and you elaborated on that vision in your introductory remarks. Now it's been 2 decades. The institute has expanded significantly in terms of its infrastructure, the courses and the degree programs it offers, faculty, student activities, research and teaching assistantship opportunities, as Director just mentioned. So 2 decades down the line, when you look at LNMIT right now, do you feel happy, satisfied, contented with the way it is right now? Or do you see there's something else should have been done? Or let me rephrase it this way. A decade down the line, where would you want to see LNMIT grow into?
In lighter note, I would like to have a swimming pool there.
Yes, I was just thinking
that has been a demand since 2005. I know.
See, academia has got to grow. Has got to have a philosophy which will bring in the compactness of education. I believe more humanities courses have got to be offered. Not only languages, which Dhariwal is doing excellently, but also people like Ambika Prasad, who will be able to bring in other nature of life for fruitful living entities. Future of LNM IIT will be when you have thinkers brought into the system. Not only Chanakya, but also thinkers. Thinkers not only in the technology sense, but also in terms of humanities. So this is what I would feel that we should try to strive for. Whether we will be able to do that, whether economic forces will permit us to do that, is a question to be debated. I do not know. I have no answer to that.
But thank you for sharing that perspective, sir. And with that, I think we are already 1 hour 40 minutes, and there are so many students here and so many familiar names that we can go on for on and on. But hopefully, we'll have similar more sessions in future. For now, let's conclude this session, and I would like Director Professor Banerjee to make some concluding remarks.
All I would like to say is a very big thank you to Amit and Divyanshu for making Professor Sinha agree to enlighten us all and share beautiful experiences, which are also life lessons in certain ways. Some of the anecdotes that some of you shared, they were also very interesting. Certain things I could see the insights that we could probably benefit from. So, as a teacher, I am a lifelong learner myself. So, this served to me as a learning session. At the same time, I do believe that each one of you, as well as seniors, including Professor Sinha, who have contributed immensely to making LMIT the way it could evolve over the years, do bring immense value. I have been trying to reach out to many of them. I believe I keep updating Professor Sinha once in a while, also alongside some others who I could connect to even from the foundation years, even though we may not have met many times. And I try and reach out to some of you through the alumni email ID groups that the groups do have. But it's possible that some of you probably are still out of my reach. What I will try and do is that reach out and try to reach out to more of you, have such benefit from these opportunities, and also share certain thoughts that we have when we engage more. This year we started with 2 international alumni meets with help of Amit and Vikas, and we have a few lined up next year, some in North America as well as in certain other parts of Europe and Asia. So, and because alumni are spread over all over, though we are a very small alumni numbers we have, but I believe quality-wise we have good spread, diversity-wise we have really good spread, and with people like Professor Sinha there, I'm very sure that if we miss out onto anything, they are there to guide us. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Banerjee. Nyogi, sir? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I am so much thankful to you, sir, today that you accepted this offer to speak before us. And it was really, really wonderful and excellent to hear you, to see you after so many years. And what I find that yesterday when I rang you, at that time you are doing pranayam. So even at this stage, you are maintaining your health. So it's wonderful to see that you are almost the same. Your speech and your everything, you are just like, what I saw you 10 years, 15 years back. So it's really, I must congratulate you that you are maintaining your health. And I am really very grateful that you shared your thoughts and wisdom to us. You are the first one to start this institute with a great vision, and that is what we are doing it at present. And you are today also you shared so much of your wisdom to us. So thank you very much. And what happened today, that it's really great to see that so many of our older students, that means all our alumni, say from YO3 batch to say YO3, starting from YO3. So many are there today that today it is almost a alumni meet. And it is because of you, because of your personality and the way you have taught and helped them. So they have come. So generally people don't, spend time in this online meetings. So I was asking Divyanshu, he said, no, if Sir, Professor Sinha is speaking, then people will come. So, and that is, I'm very much thankful to each one of you, all my friends, older friends or alumni, that you have taken your time and you have joined this and you have interacted so well today. So many important questions you have raised. And I have recorded the whole video. And I hope you won't have any problem if I upload this video in our YouTube. So others can see the people who are today not present. To Divyanshu, I don't know how to thank him because every time, whenever I have given you any responsibility, you are so bright. And as I told you in the beginning, that you are a all-rounder, one of the best all-rounder, and you have raised such an important question. Some of the questions actually I wanted to ask, but I could not. But you have raised very, very important questions, and you did your job as a moderator very well today. So thank you very, very much. And today I also remember, as I told all of you in the beginning, our initial forefathers, our pioneers, Professor Sharan, and I talked to him, and he is fine. He remembers LNMIT. Presently, he said that I am looking within, so he's not much involved with these talks, but he is spending his time in consciousness studies. And Professor Katiyal is also fine, but he told me that Sinha sir sab bolenge. And Professor Amitav Roy, yes, I could not contact him, but he was a great figure during that time. He used to take so many courses of computer science as well as the electrical engineering. So a great figure. So I couldn't contact him for this occasion. But anyway, I must thank you very much. And lastly, I must thank our director that he is too busy nowadays. And today also in the morning, there were programs. He attended all the full program of the Teachers' Day. And now at night also he is present. So he has taken up his time. And I am very much thankful to Professor Banerjee for being with us. So thank you all, my friends, and also to you, sir, once again. It was a wonderful today to meet you all.
And from my side, thank you. Thank you to all of us. I saw them for the first time after LNM IIT. Thank you very much. It was an opportunity which I will never forget. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And I will convey all of your wishes from the chat to Professor Sinha via email. And thank you, everyone for connecting. It was really a very insightful and nostalgic discussion, so to say.
Yes.
So looking forward for more such discussions in future.
A successful
Thank you,
Teachers'
Professor
Day.
Sinha. Yeah, a successful Teachers' Day, a happy Teachers' Day to everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Indeed. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day, Professor Sinha, and good night to those who are in India and nearby time zones.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
See everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Teachers' Day.
Okay. Good night, sir.
Okay.